Why am I running? I'll say, just looking at my upbringing, I'll be honest, they're very humble. My dad was a timber faller. My mom was a nurse. I was the youngest of 6, had the pleasure of growing up in 1 bedroom with 3 older brothers and 2 bunk beds, and since I was the youngest, you can guess where I fell in the pecking order. And kind of what that meager upbringing did, picking strawberries, did paper routes, helped my father out in the woods. If you guys remember the old Pietro's Pizza, helped finance my college education through the U of O. And it's just kind of interesting. I just kind of stepped back, and you just realize, just super fortunate, and kind of where I came from. Just an awesome wife, Adrian, for 22 years. Justin's awesome. Jacqueline, most of the time, is awesome. And I just realized, it was kind of just pressed on my heart, it really is time to give. It's time to serve. And I wasn't looking for this office, and when the phone calls started coming in, I realized, that's probably not a coincidence. Maybe there's a reason why it's pressed on my heart, and maybe there's a reason why people are calling. In terms of some things that are kind of near to my heart, one of them is just greater representation. And you want to know, in my opinion, who needs to get greater representation? You. When's the last time you had an elected official ask what's important to you, honestly? I mean, ever since I declared my candidacy, I've asked people, do you know who your state representative is? Most do not. I've asked, have you ever had an elected official ask what's important to you? Only 1 person said they did. And I just come from a servant heart and a humble heart that I really want to have. If I get elected, I want to make sure that I have a relationship for anyone that's interested of having that conduit to a legislator, by definition, is a servant, right? So I just want to make sure that your views are represented. Another group that I think needs greater representation are the kids and the teachers. In 2013, the state of Oregon had the worst high school graduation rate in the country. And in my opinion, that sure the heck isn't the teacher's fault. I had a great breakfast with Jim Torrey the other day, and he says, Joe, if you get up in Salem, follow the money. Make sure the money gets to the classrooms, and make sure that it's supporting the teachers and it's supporting the students. I'm also a firm believer, not to get too controversial, not everyone should, nor does everyone want to go to college. So why don't we set up vocational training programs? I understand that Springfield is an excellent program, but it shouldn't be something that's just kind of an afterthought or progressive communities. We should really provide that, especially given the cost of education nowadays. Second thing that I'm kind of focused on is just greater transparency and accountability. The Center for Public Integrity gave Oregon, it's nonpartisan, they received an F for transparency. Now, would you guys agree with Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, phones? Is it hard to get information out nowadays? How on gosh green earth can it be possible that someone could get an F in transparency unless it's by design, right? And I'm not saying it's a conspiracy, but I'm just saying, again, I just come from a servant heart that if I'm elected, I want to make sure that you guys know what the heck I'm doing as well as what my peers are doing. I also think accountability is pretty important. It's pretty interesting that if you look at my district, Democrats are in the minority. If you add up the number of Republicans and independents, they make up a majority of the district. Now it's interesting, if you look at my opponent, Phil Barnhart, which by the way, I'm going to respectfully say, I respect the heck out of the man for serving. I mean, as I get more and more into this process, I realize, wow, he's may disagree with his views, but I sure the heck respect him, serving the state of Oregon. But again, if you just take a look at the independents and the Republicans make up a majority of the district, does anyone want to guess what percentage of the time Phil has voted the Democratic Party line?
98.
99. Wow. And I'm just saying, I don't know about you guys, I don't agree with Adrian 98% of the time. I don't agree with my coworkers. I certainly don't agree with Jacqueline 98% of the time. So come on. I mean, and again, I'm sure part of that's natural, obviously, because it's kind of a leading legislator. But people sometimes ask, well, gosh, he's been there for so long. What are you going to do? I'm just going to tell you right now, if someone's definition of leadership is simply just to do what I'm told to do, My definition is I'd rather just be a one-term candidate that kind of votes with my heart and kind of votes what's interested in representing your needs as well. Last thing I want to focus in on, I'd really like Oregon to be a place where family and friends don't have to move away to get a job. It took me 17 years to come back to Oregon. It wasn't by choice. The opportunities weren't there. There's a magazine called CEO Magazine that did a survey, and they ranked Oregon 42nd as the least business-friendly state in the Union. There's another analysis done by Money Rates that took a look at what is the best and the worst place to make a living. So they took a look at how much you make, what's the job opportunity, the cost of living. Oregon received, or classified as the second worst state behind Hawaii to make a living. And I think one of the ways that you kind of tackle that dragon, guys, is we have to understand what the business leaders do, right? I mean, that's hopefully bring my background. That if I'm looking at legislation, I really have to understand, and I want to have a mastermind of business leaders and owners. So when I'm looking at pending legislation, I don't really know everything. I'm going to be able to get some good counsel to make sure that we make wise decisions that's balanced.